Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about luxury summer bags and rating them according to whether I think they are trendy or classic. I did another version of this video a little while ago, but just generally about the bags out there at the moment. I got a couple of requests to do a more seasonally specific version, so I'm going to be tackling summer bags in today's video. So I'm going over the most popular and frequently seen luxury styles we're seeing for this spring summer season and rating them according to whether I think they are trendy, classic, or somewhere in between. So I hope you guys enjoy this and let's get started. This video does continue on my collaboration with Mytheresa, who I have worked with many times before, and they are genuinely one of my favorite places to shop in general, but especially when it comes to luxury goods. Their stock selection is always so amazing. They always just stock the best items, and everything that I'm featuring here today is available from mytheresa.com. So I will link everything in the description section if you did want to check anything out. I did also want to let you know that they have gone live with their daily candy promotion, which is an annual sale they do every single year. I've been shopping this for literally years and years, way before I started working with Mytheresa. It's always such a fun one. If you're not familiar with it, then basically a new set of items goes on sale every day, but only for 24 hours. So the next day, a new batch of items are included and the other items go back to full price. I think it's about 80 items included every single day, and it's a variety of items from shoes to bags to clothing, just a little bit of everything included. The discounts are between 20 and 30% off, and there is a whole landing page where you can see everything, so I will link that down below. I just bookmark it and then every day I refresh it to see if, what's new and if there's anything I want included in the sale. The sale ends on May 9th, I believe, so there are quite a few more days to go. Definitely one to check out. You never know what's going to be included in the sale, which is kind of the fun of it. And obviously the prices go back to full price after that 24-hour period. So I'll link it below if you wanted to check that out. Always such a fun one to shop. So the first bag style I'm tackling are Raffia bags, and I think this is probably the most quintessentially summer bag. Whenever I think of summer bags, it is a Raffia bag, and I feel like more and more designers every single year are getting on board with it. I don't consider this to be trendy at all, just because Raffia styles have been around for decades. Like, again, it is for me a quintessentially summer bag, and the best thing about Raffia is not only does it not date, but there's styles available at every single price point. So if you did want to splurge and invest in a luxury one, you can do. If you wanted to get, a simple £10 one, you could as well. Like, there are options at every single price point. The material isn't particularly expensive. It's not like leather, so you don't have to invest a ton to get a very beautiful version of it. But there are so many designers doing really, really gorgeous versions, and there's literally every single style included. So Saint Laurent have everything from their camera bag style, their classic Lou camera bag in the larger size. They've done a fantastic raffia and black leather version, which I think is so beautiful. They also have their classic Cape bag though. This is the slightly longer style. They've done that in a raffia style, and I adore this. It's so beautiful. Very easygoing in terms of summer style, but also super chic as well. When it does come to luxury versions, you do often get leather mixed in with a raffia, presumably to give it that more luxe element. So a lot of brands do tend to mix leather with raffia, as you just saw with the Saint Laurent version. But if you don't want to do leather, then Stella McCartney have also released a kind of updated version of their classic shoulder bag, and they've done a half faux leather with raffia. So it's kind of half, but still has that very classic shape. Just a really beautiful update on a classic summer style. So easy to wear, but very luxurious looking as well. And then possibly one of my favorite versions that I've seen this season of this style of bag is the Fendi shoulder bag. I'm just loving what Fendi is doing at the moment. I always think their designs are so beautiful. They are definitely on the pricey side, but I saw this bag and I thought it was so cute. I actually love the whole style. So they have a whole range of these shoulder bags, and they do them in leather versions, which are beautiful. They've also done a raffia version as well, which I just think is the cutest thing. So quintessentially Fendi as well, but absolutely perfect for summer, really easygoing, but very chic as well. I just love these styles. So there are a ton of options when it comes to raffia bags. I do think that if you did want to invest in a fancy version, I don't think that this trend is going anywhere anytime soon. I do think it's very classic. We see it come back year after year, and brands do tend to mix up their styles, but as long as you didn't go for something completely wacky and out there, I don't think you're going to have any issues in terms of longevity. As I said, there is also a huge variety of price points when it comes to raffia, because the materials are that little bit cheaper. cheaper. So always so many options, and if you did want to go for a raffia style, I can only see these growing more and more popular each summer. The next bag style is very similar to raffia, but there are some subtle differences. So it is the larger basket bag or basket tote. And often there's a lot of overlap. So you can get basket bags and basket totes in a raffia style. So you can combine the two if you wanted to go for that full-on summer look. But you can also get them as completely separate materials. So you can mix and match them, they can be separate, but I wanted to include this as a separate category because it does often have a slightly different functionality. You know, the raffia bags I mentioned were more kind of smaller bags, daytime bags to evening bags, whereas a larger tote for me is much more of a daytime kind of picnic shopper. I know often they're called beach bags. For me, beach bags is a bit of a loose term because these are very, very pricey to take to the beach. Obviously, you can use them for that if you want to, but there are a whole ton of different styles included within this category. And that is one really important thing to know, because within these categories, yes, a general style can be, you know, more classical, more trendy, but there's always going to be variation. So even within a very classic style, you will be able to find very, very trendy versions of that style. So it's not black or white, there are always shades in grey. A good example of that are two Saint Laurent styles. So one here is a smaller bucket style, which has the leather trim. It's a little bit more out there, you know, from Saint Laurent, so it is a bit more edgy anyway, but this one kind of ticks the boxes of raffia and a basket bag, but it's a bit more experimental, so I would say that this leans a bit more towards the trendy side. On the other hand, they do also have a more traditional basket style. Again, it does have that leather trim, but it does so in a much more classic and subtle way, I guess. This one I would say is very, very classic. I don't think this would look out of place in 10 years time. And so again, you can have a lot of the same components from the material to the shape, but there can be a lot of variation in the details. So generally speaking, the more edgy and experimental something is, the more trendy it will tend to be, versus the more classic and I guess safe looking an item is, the more longevity it will generally have. A few other styles under this category which I love. So Chloe have done a whole line of Marcy basket bags, and I love the Marcy line, and I'm so glad that they're expanding it more and more. It's clearly a popular one for them, because often I feel like Chloe are very notorious for debuting new styles and then discontinuing them a couple of years later, whereas the Marcy line has really stood the test of time. They keep producing them in new colors, and they do seem to be expanding the line. They have produced a whole series of beautiful summer styles, from a kind of satchel style right through to basket bags in both these small and the medium sizes, and I think these are so cute. Loewe are another brand who are doing these as well, so they have the leather pockets just to add that kind of really distinctive luxe look. Very, very cool, especially if you're a Loewe fan. They have a whole range of these, also in a variety of sizes as well. The next style I wanted to discuss isn't really a specific bag, but it's rather a specific detail, and it is chunky oversized chains, and we've been seeing a lot of these over the past few months, and I would say that Bottega Veneta is absolutely the source of this trend. They do a few different varieties. They do their really, really long one, and they do a shorter one on their pouch style as well. It is very, very of the moment. They are by no means the only brand doing this though. Givenchy have also updated their Givenchy Antigona with a massive, very chunky chain, and JW Anderson have also incorporated huge chains onto some of their bags as well. So this definitely does seem to be a little bit of a trend. I think it is super fun, and especially if you really like to have fun with your fashion and really like to have statement accessories, this is just such a cool way to do it. So many of Bottega's bags are just absolutely beautiful, and the color combinations are stunning. You can usually get the chains in both the gold and the silver, and the bags come in a whole variety of colors, which are just so beautiful for summer. That said, if I was going to judge this trend on how much longevity it will have, this one definitely is in the trendy category for me. I don't see this trend being a mainstay in the luxury bag world for many, many years to come. Usually trends in the luxury world do last a couple of years, you know, they don't usually just last a season or two, but I would be very surprised if this trend were to be around in say 5 years time. It does feel very of the moment right now, really kind of tapping into that more minimal look, but really going bold with your accessories. But if you're looking for something that's going to last you decades, I'm not sure that chunky chains are the one. Next up is a very specific style from a very specific brand, and it is the weave style from Bottega Veneta. I get a lot of questions about this, and I know Bottega Veneta is very kind of hyped up right now. It's a very, very popular brand, and they are producing a whole ton of different styles, but they've also been producing a lot of their weave styles, and this is one that I did buy into, so I do have my mini Jodie here. But they also have quite a few different versions, so they have larger versions of this too. They've also released this kind of style but in a fabric with a knot detail, which I think is super, super cute. They have a few different versions. I would say that even though a lot of the more out there designs that Bottega are doing, I do feel like are a bit more trendy, I think the weave styles are a bit more classic just because they really source the design of those from their archives, you know. The weave style is nothing new to Bottega Veneta. They've been doing them for decades, you know, it's a very kind of old and historic brand, and so they really base their new designs off those old ones, which I do think means that they have more longevity. It also means that if you wanted to go the pre-loved route, you could also get one of those styles, and they haven't really differed it too much in terms of the design, so that's a great way to score a deal if you were interested in one of these styles. My mini Jodie, I am still very, very excited about. I think it's adorable, and the leather quality is really, really stunning, which also always helps as well. If a bag is beautiful quality, then I always think it does help in terms of its longevity. So Bottega definitely is a mixed bag, but I think their weave styles and just weave bags in general are definitely more on the classic side. Next up are pouches, and even though you can technically use pouches all year round, I do think they are a bit more traditionally a summer style. They are quite small, and so generally you have to be a bit more minimal with your items that you carry, and during the colder months, you know, you need to bring an umbrella, maybe an extra layer. There just seems to be more stuff to carry during winter, whereas you can definitely get away with being a bit more minimal during summer. So many brands are doing versions of these, and I always think a pouch is such a fun way to update your look. They're often usually a bit cheaper than a full-on kind of shoulder bag or something like that. Most of them I see are between kind of £400 to £500, and that's even from very, very luxe designers. And by no means is that cheap at all, but certainly when it comes to, you know, the likes of Fendi, you can get very, very pricey items. This is a trend that I just bought into. I absolutely love it, and I did just order the Fendi version. And what I love about this trend is it's possible to do a crossover of a few different trends happening. So the one I got from Fendi, you know, it has that pouch style, it has that logo element as well, which is very on trend at the moment also, but it also incorporates the raffia as well. So it hits a few different trend points, and because it's smaller as well, it's not, you know, thousands and thousands of pounds. So I always think that's a really good way if you did want to do a few trends at once to focus in on a smaller item, because you're just getting more bang for your buck that way. I think the Fendi one is so beautiful, and I'm so excited to get it. Unfortunately, it didn't arrive in time for this video, but as soon as it does arrive, then I will show it. But Fendi are definitely not the only brand doing this. Saint Laurent also do their logo pouch in both the black and the natural, and Valentino also have a raffia version as well, again hitting those multiple trend points. So generally speaking, I would say that pouches are pretty classic. They've been around for ages, and I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. They were traditionally more of a summertime bag, you know, a really great one to take to the pool, but now as we begin to see more luxe ones, I do think it's going to be a more daily style for people. Again, there is variation, so the crazier the design, the less longevity it will have, but if you stick to slightly more classic shapes and brands, then I don't think you'll be able to go too wrong. And again, it's a really nice one to cross over on a few different trends. So pouches are always a classic one for me. They are very useful as well, so you can use them as a clutch. You can also pop them into a larger bag for extra storage. They do have a few different use cases, which always helps with the longevity. Next up are book totes, and this is one I mentioned in a recent video, which is one that I've actually considered getting because I love the style, and I think the book tote style is a bit more of a unique one because it is a bit newer in terms of the sudden explosion in popularity. You know, it's not necessarily a new bag design. You know, you definitely find examples of ones from many, many years ago from luxury brands, but in terms of the overwhelming popularity from a whole series of different brands, from, you know, Dior with their their book tote to Louis Vuitton with their on-the-go style. Saint Laurent also have their gorgeous book tote, which I am such a fan of. So it is a bit newer in terms of the across-the-board popularity. Despite that, and despite the fact that I think it's easy to say that they are quite trendy because of how popular they are, I do actually think this one could have a very, very decent staying power, just because I am seeing more of a shift towards specific occasion bags. And as brands try to produce more and more styles, I think it's natural to see that we're not only getting more versatile bags, but more bags for specific occasions. So, you know, vacation ready bags, evening bags, that sort of thing. And so the book tote really does fit into that. Obviously you can use it on a daily basis as well, but this is one style that I don't see going anywhere anytime soon, and it wouldn't shock me if these brands continue to produce them and we continue to see them even in 5 years' time. And then finally, the last summer style that I'm going to be discussing are satchel bags. And this can kind of take a few different forms, but generally speaking, when I think of a satchel style in terms of luxury bags, it is the Chloe Mini Marcy. So it's usually leather, or at least it does have some element to it. It's an easygoing crossbody, and it usually has some kind of flap on the front. The Chloe Mini Marcy, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a huge fan of, and I do think it's one of the few styles from Chloe which I generally think of as classic. Chloe is very on it with their it bags, but they do tend to fade quite quickly, whereas the Mini Marcy has just lasted for so long. I don't even remember when it was first released, but it's been a good few years. I only got mine fairly recently, I think in the last year or so, but I absolutely love it, and I do see why it's continued to be popular. I first kind of rediscovered it after I saw it in the James Bond film, and it's stuck in my mind. I just love how it really incorporates just that easy French elegance. It's a very, very easygoing summer style, and it's not something that is super structured and rigid, so the leather is beautifully smushy, but I do think that's kind of part of the appeal of it, you know? It's not super stiff, it's not really formal, it's just one of those beautiful bags which is only going to look better with time. And they do these in a whole bunch of different colors, but certainly the satchel style I do think is very classic. I think the Chloe Mini Marcy is a beautiful example of that. And then finally for this category, I did want to mention one other style from Saint Laurent, which I do think does a great job of encompassing a few different trends. So it is a satchel style and does have some leather trim, but it also hits upon that raffia trend as well. It is absolutely gorgeous. It has the classic YSL logo on there, so you do have that luxe element, but the more natural materials really do give it a beautiful, easygoing summer vibe. And as I said, it does hit a few different trends. You have that raffia element in there, you have that gorgeous satchel style, just a really, really beautiful summer style, especially if you're a Saint Laurent fan. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with my assessments. Do you think some bags are too trendy? Do you think they're more classic? Let me know in the comment section below. As usual, I will include links to everything I featured in the description section, along with the link for that daily candy page. If you have any questions for me, then leave me a comment. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.